other people. He goes out and takes still pictures, but his primary job is with the video camera, right?
Right. God.
Mr. Sims
That's weird. We didn't have that last year.
One of the teachers at our school. Maybe at the end of the period I'll tell you who.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
I guess I got to read a story first again.
You can do it.
Boy, that's weird.
That you like.
All right, I'll read my story first. No, tape will be next. Hope you all got your barf bags because I brought some nice surgery shots and things. No, I brought clean stuff. Seeing as how I do medical photography mainly, I switched stories here from what was picked for me. This is called Dr. Concoctor. It says translated by Richard N. Coe. And it's kind of poetry, so bear with me on it because I'm not big on reading poetry, but it's kind of a cute story. It's called Dr. Concoctor. Dr. Concoctor sits under a tree. He's ever so clever. He has a degree. I meet guys like this all the time. Anybody's fathers or mother's a doctor? Anybody? Got one? Okay. I was going to be careful what I say about some of them then. No, most of them are pretty nice. Let's see. Dr. Concoctor sits under a tree. He's ever so clever. He has a degree. All the hares and all the bears and the snakes and the weasels are sure of a cure for their headaches and measles. Hippo or rhino or otter or setter, Dr. Concoctor will make them all better. One windy day, one day in May, when the west wind blew from the north, the telegraph pup came galloping up with a telegram held in his mouth. Doctor, get dressed. There's an urgent request from the hippos who live in the south. Come to Africa, as quick as can be. Come save our hippo babies who are sick as can be. You don't mean it. Yes, we do. They've got chicken pox and flu. They've got cholera and mumps. They've all come out in lumps. They've got, this is a big word for a little poem here. They've got gastroenteritis and dermatitis and bronchitis, poliomyelitis. Don't ask me what that is. I just shoot it. I don't, is it? Okay. Thank you. I didn't see you sitting over there. Come tell us what to do. And come tell us, oh, we don't know what to do. Don't you worry, I shall hurry. I'll be around to see you soon. Shall I find you near the river, near the old Limpopo River, where the rains come down forever, from the mountains of the moon? Or our home lies hidden far beyond the isles of Zanzibar, where the hills of, Ruwenzori touch the coast of Canabar, where the empty Kalahari sighs forever and forever, where the jungle twines like ivy around the great Limpopo River. In the river, in the river, in the great Limpopo River, in the pale Limpopo River lie the islands where we are. So, the doctor grabbed his bag, set off running like a stag through the hedges, through the sedges. He ran busy as a beaver, and he whispered as he ran, I must get there if I can, I must get there quickly, quickly, to the great Limpopo River. But the rain turned to snow, and the gales began to blow, and they shouted, Doctor, doctor, you turned to ice, you know. And the doctor tripped and fell, and he lay very still, and he said, I can't go on, I don't feel very well, and I really can't go on, and I really don't feel very well. I shall never, never, never reach the pale Limpopo River. Then from out behind a tree slid a wolf, all gray and black. Doctor, jump on my back, he said, I'll take you to the sea. So with the doctor on his back, he went ambling down the track. He went lurching down the track like a retriever. And the doctor, as he ran, said, I must get there if I can. I must get there quickly, quickly, to the great Limpopo River. And it says here in parentheses, the doctor reaches the sea, almost drowns, is saved by a whale, comes ashore, climbs peak after peak until he's pretty tired. Then an eagle came and cried, Doctor, would you like a ride? What's a mountain ranger too? I could fly you to Peru. So the doctor sat astride on the eagle's back and cried, I never met an eagle more intelligent and clever. And he whispered as he flew, no matter what I do, I shall get there quickly, 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 to the great Limpopo River. Far, far away in Africa, in tropical black Africa, a lonely hippopotamus sits weeping by the sea. Beneath a palm he sits forlorn from dawn to dusk, from dusk to dawn, seeking the ship that should be borne across the silver sea. And far away in Africa, in tropical black Africa, the great Limpopo River winds forever to the sea. Vociferous, belligerent rhinoceros and elephant fill the forest hollows with their bellows of complaint. Rows of hippopotami grip their tummies. Rows of hippopotami grip their tummies dismally, shiver shaking, tummy aching, feeling sick and faint. 6 and 60 ostrich chicks have ricked their backs and cricked their necks, and from their beaks come squawks and squeaks of protest and disaster. They've all got gout and dysentery and athlete's foot and housemaid's knee. Their heads are sore, their throats are raw, their toes done up in plaster. 5 baby sharks have aching teeth, 6 rows on top and 6 beneath. 5 baby basking sharks are asking for the doctor. Oops, I left an asking out of there. Sharks are asking for the doctor. From the rim of the sea, from a castle of cloud, came a rushing of wings, beating low, beating loud. Now we're getting there. And a speck appeared where the sea began, and the speck took the shape of a bird and a man who sat on an eagle's back and waved with his stick and his bag and his hat, crying, Africa, Africa, Africa. And the beasts and the birds in herds on the shore answered, Welcome to Africa, welcome once more to Africa, Africa, Africa. The hippos lie glum, each clutching his tum, and then in parentheses it says, Dr. Concoctor lands safe on the ground. They grumble and mumble, why doesn't he come? And in parentheses again, Dr. Concoctor has started his round. Dr. Concoctor sets off like a rocket with 30 varieties of cures in his pocket. He orders them cod liver oil by the plateful and pills by the boxful, although they taste hateful, and drops by the mugful and lint by the fistful for any young patient who's fretful or wistful. He dosed all the tigers with licorice slices, with cinnamon cake and with passion fruit ices. He sounded their chest and he tested their lungs. He stuck his thermometer under their tongues over and over again. He treated the vultures for hiccups and mumps. He treated the camels for bumps on their humps. He dosed all the puffins with truffles and muffins, with muffins and truffles and truffles and muffins, with buttery muffles and waffly truffles over and over again. Dr. Concoctor is busy all night. Dr. Concoctor is busy for weeks, not resting, not eating, just testing and treating their feet and their teeth and their beaks, just patching their humps and spring cleaning their lungs over and over again. Just popping thermometers under their tongues, rhinoceros tongues and great anteater tongues, just sticking thermometers under their tongues over and over again. There's no whining, there's no groaning by the river, no more hippos lie a-moaning by the great Limpopo River. The rhinoceros is dancing by the great Limpopo River. And the elephant is prancing where the river meets the sea. All the sharks are basking idly, showing rows of teeth and grinning. The tarantulas are spinning, the giraffes are smirking widely. And each hippo baby wallows in the swamps and in the shallows. Oh, the hippopotapippos are happy as can be, whatever they are. The heart beasts are wallowing and bellowing and hollowing. Oh, you can hear the trumpeting from Zanzibar to Crete. Thank you, doctor, for your ices, for your nice vanilla slices. You have helped us through our crisis. You have set us on your feet. You've been lapping up your lotions. We've been lapping up your lotions. We've enjoyed your pills and potions, and we thank you, thank you, thank you, for your visit was a treat. Whew. That's that. I should have read that whole thing first. Okay. I'm a medical photographer, and what I do is I shoot video and still photographs for patient education purposes, for physician education. Doctors and nurses and technicians, they all have to keep learning continuously. Medical techniques change every day, and they all have to keep their education going, so they view tapes that I make, usually ordered either by a hospital or by a clinic or something. And patients, any of you guys ever gone to your doctor's office and he's looked at you and said, hey, I want you to watch this videotape on some kind of an illness or whatever? I see a couple of heads nodding, yeah. I make tapes like that. You'll either see that doctor or somebody in his office who will be sitting there and they'll tell you what's wrong, what you've got, what you need to do. A lot of my work has to deal with orthopedics, which deals with bones and muscles. I shoot a lot of surgery, which I love. I shoot a lot of still photos for publication. Hospitals have newsletters and such. They send their patients. They send to doctors that send them patients. And I shoot a lot of that kind of stuff. I brought a videotape. It's about 6 minutes long. It's got a few pieces in it of things I've shot. Give you some idea of kind of things I do. We'll show that right quick. I picked the clean stuff, so it shouldn't be too bad. Oh, it's still good though. I love it. There's no sound at first. There's a sound piece coming up though. All right, the first two actually involve laser surgery. Okay.
What is this?
That's a tumor. That's a tumor inside a woman. Yeah. Now, see, this doctor's using a laser to cut off a piece of this tumor to go to the lab so they can find out if this woman's got cancer or not. You can see that the light comes bending around the fiber optics there out that little wand he's holding.
Where does she have a tumor?
It's in her stomach, in her abdomen. No, that's not the stomach. That's near it. See, he's cutting off a little piece there.
This is clean.
Yeah. Now, see, we all have to wear these goggles and such because laser beams can burn your eyes. You can go blind if a laser beam hits you in the eye, accidentally. So everybody that's in the room has to wear that stuff, including me, which makes it real fun trying to shoot through a little eyepiece.
I was going to say, are you right there next to the doctor?
Uh-huh. I'm standing over his shoulder.
What about that lady?
She has cover over her eyes, although she's asleep. She's had a general anesthetic. So.
Did you use that camera?
No. This is a new one. I just got this recently.
How old is this?
The tape's about a year old. This will be over with in a second. He's going to have that piece off of there in just a second. It turned out to be cancerous, so she had to have that whole tumor taken out. See, it cuts off that little piece, and they send it to the lab where they test it. But they'll use, and that's the machine, that's the laser that sends the power. That sends the light beam to that little wand. There'll be a nurse in the room that has to control it. This next one is also laser surgery, but it's a different kind. And this is how we use video in surgery without making a great big incision to open you up. We make poke a little hole in your stomach and insert that big wand. There's a TV camera up on the end here. You see the screen over the shoulder up there? See, rather than having to be all sliced open and spend weeks in the hospital very uncomfortable, we now put little TV cameras inside of you and take a look around. You go home the same day or the next day. This is all washed out here because of the bright lights. The TV camera can't separate the two from this darkness around here. Okay, now we're inside the body.
What part of the body are we in?
We're inside the abdomen here again. Those are openings. That's the gallbladder and the liver. This is your liver up here.
What's that?
All right, that instrument is cutting away tissue that holds the gallbladder in place. Now there's a different kind of laser tip. Remember the other one with the big starburst of light? This one just gets real hot. It's got a little ruby tip on it, and it gets real hot and just slices along as it touches the tissue. It vaporizes it from the heat. Yeah. This is also a woman, and her gallbladder has gone bad, so they have to take it out. This is all. That's a little sac that's inside of you that holds the digestive fluids for your stomach. Yeah, a lot of people have this done. That's the liver down there, and that's the laser tip that's just cutting the last tissue of it off. That's the big gallbladder just hanging there. It'll come out in a second. You'll see that. Yeah. Now see, it just got a little opening there. Actually, right at the belly button. Don't watch if it bothers you guys. I don't want to make anybody sick. Let's see, it's full of fluid, so they're going to drain the fluid out. It's right next to the belly button, yeah. Now watch, it's going to pop out here. There it goes. Oh, wait, I got to back it up. I meant to show you something. No, I don't.
Slow motion.
I can't put it in slow motion, but tell me if this doesn't look like the little creature in Aliens coming out of the stomach here. Watch right here. I just thought of this morning when I was looking at this. It cracked me up. Watch, here it comes. Ah, I'm out. Okay. Well, there's more. That's just the end of that case.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna. Okay. Now this is where's Claus? That's my company name, my medical production company. I mentioned about going to see tapes. Your doctor shows you a videotape telling you what's wrong with you. This is just a little sample of one that I made. Push the right button helps. This is what you'd see in a doctor's office. This is for people that have back problems. Florida Spine Center is one of my clients. Yep, a little advertisement here. Facet syndrome is a problem with your back, a specific problem.
In order to better understand the Facet syndrome, I'd like to take a few minutes to explain it in a little more detail. In order to understand the Facet,
part of my job is to come in and I take the doctor explaining what's going on, and then I'll also, when I do the editing process, create these graphics. We have a computer in my office, in my edit suite, and that's a spine model. I'll shoot that and then put graphics over it to help identify what's going on.
Or backwards.
They also regularly in the hospital.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are shown in the hospital?
They show them in the hospitals and in doctors' offices. Okay, so that's that one. Oh, just right quick, when I asked about anybody's parents or doctors. Doctors are usually these stuffy shirt guys, you know, and I've got all these degrees and I know everything, and just to give you an example of, here's one that's a great guy, and sometimes they go crazy too. Well, he's getting a little impatient with me taping him here, so he started to go. That wasn't enough. How often do you see a doctor do that? That's it. Okay. Okay.
Well, I have a question before the kids ask you.
Well, I'm not done.
Let me ask you, and then you can do it.
Okay.
You showed us the videotape. He obviously, you know, he has to know how to work a camera, and you have to know the technical parts of the camera.
Yep.
Do you have to read on your job?
That was my next part. Yes. I was just going to say that how important reading is. I've got my camera here that I shoot with. You know, it's full of electronics. It's got all kinds of. That's all right. That falls off all the time. Let's get rid of that. That's just a microphone. It's got all the controls and stuff that I have to operate. Same thing on the lens. Not yet. Here's the kind of stuff you have to read to use equipment like this.
You went all this?
No, I'm working on it.
He reads what he needs.
It's all technical stuff on how to operate the equipment. This happens to be the computerized controller that runs all my tape decks for the editing process. It tells all the different functions it can do and how to do them. It's hard to read, I'll tell you that much. It's boring. Video being a technical trade, here's all the publications I get each month. This is like a month's worth right here. Different magazines that I get that they tell me about what's the latest equipment that's coming out, all the latest toys I'd like to buy and can't afford. Yeah, things like that. Here's one. This is called Marquee. This is a magazine about what's happening in the business, who's producing what. This lets me check up on what my competition has done, although there isn't much competition in medical work. This is mainly for, let's see if I can find it here. This is more for the motion picture industry. Making movies out of Orlando and Hollywood and such. Yes, this month happens to be talking about what they're doing up in Atlanta. Here we have more of a technical magazine. This is telling about what's involved in television broadcast, what TV stations are doing. And it's got all kinds of things in it about latest equipment from Panasonic. This is the new stuff that it uses a videotape, but not like we use today. This is all using computers and digital images. Very expensive. Yeah, this stuff is incredible right now. Like $100,000 for a video recorder. Here's another one. It's on the technical part. Here's one that's this magazine is strictly dedicated to what's called post-production houses, places where you go to have your tape edited. So a director goes and he shoots his commercial or he shoots his industrial film, and he needs to edit all that tape now. He goes to what's called a post house. where they strictly do editing there. They have all the equipment to put it all together to make, let's see here. Well, that doesn't really show very well. But anyway, this is just dedicated to that, just to strictly the editing process. Here's a little little catalog on equipment,
Did you use all those
TVs and such.
resources? In other words, you don't read them front to back. You just look through.
You read through them and pick what you like to read about. What's more relevant to what you're doing. For me, I mainly read them for the equipment. What's happening with the equipment wise. This is kind of a all-around magazine on video production. It talks about what's shooting and what's.
Is that the only thing you shoot with?
No, I have some still cameras I shoot with. I have sometimes I rent bigger units than this. This is kind of a medium quality format. And sometimes my productions require the kind of stuff you'd see on NBC or the big networks, and I have to go rent that. Something like you see what this guy's holding here. Y'all see that camera? All right, that camera he's holding is about $40,000. Okay, I don't have $40,000 to spend on a camera like that, so you rent it.
Where do you rent it from?
There are industrial rental places in town. Camera like that rents for about $700 a day. That's a lot of money, isn't it? Yeah, sometimes I do. Some video productions can run in the $10,000, $20,000 range. Here's a VHS recorder, $6,500. Industrial stuff is very expensive. And professional gear. There, you can even see some prices on these recorders: $14,000, $9,000, $11,500, and that's for a little portable recorder to carry around. I haven't got the money like that. I don't spend it. I have to just go rent it instead. Let them take care of the maintenance and the insurance on it. Here's studio cameras. $100,000, $60,000, typical. Even just the little you can't really see it very well, but just the pedestal. You see that camera? You've seen the cameras in the newsrooms? You see the guys pushing them forward and back? Those pedestals they're on can run $40,000, $50,000 each. This is just more of a. This one happens to be more of a. This is put out by a video distributor, equipment seller, equipment distributor. Is what I'm trying to say. So this is more product information. Here's all the latest products coming out. This is the kind of stuff I look for every month. See what's made my camera obsolete.
Is that your camera right there?
No, it's similar. This is just another month's issue. And as I said, I also shoot still photos. So I've got a couple of still photo magazines. That's all these are dedicated to. One's industrial. Are they both industrial? Yeah. Okay, 2 different months.
1 month?
No, this is January. Here's February of this year. But these are strictly dedicated to still photography. So get a few books to read each month. But like you say, don't read them cover to cover. Just kind of go through. I have a wall behind me, and see what's applicable to what I'm doing. It's always fun to read. I've got my. This is one of the latest cameras out. There's $10,000 right here. Okay, I used to shoot last year when I came out here. I brought my camera and I had a separate recorder that sat on the floor here. Okay, there's about 15 pounds here, and this is the camera. Here's the recorder on this half. Here's the camera on this half and the lens. Last year I had the camera was just this big, and it weighed 21 pounds, and I had a recorder sitting on the floor over here that was another 25 pounds. So you can see how electronics are changing every day. There's a videotape that goes in it. Some of you may have the same size tape at home, 8mm. Yeah, sometimes you do. This I don't have to for this stuff. This is just a higher quality. This is a professional version of what a lot of you may have at home. There's $12, $13 just right there. Now what was I going to say? Oh, sorry. Reading about the magazines and such. This camera, I've had this camera about 7, 8 months now. Already, it's been replaced with the new and improved version. That's how much this stuff's changed. So that's the kind of things I have to read about. Is it worthwhile for me to unload this camera, probably lose a couple $1,000s on it, to buy the new and improved version that does a much better job? Things you read about and have to think about. Okay. Questions? Big kid in the back.
Mr. Sims, I have a student from my class, and I'd like to address just a few minutes, a minute or so, on how important it is writing down your ideas and the actual planning of a production, and getting your ideas across to other people that aren't familiar with the terminology that you're very well versed at, and getting them across and letting them know how long it takes you to do certain things, and the importance of planning,
okay,
and how to get your message across to them, and getting the right information from them to be put down on the paper.
I'll do the best I can. That's a script writer's job. I'm a shooter more than I don't write very well, but sometimes I do have to write my own scripts. Planning and writing things down and keeping track of what you're doing is, if you don't do that, you're spinning your wheels. You're wasting your time. You'll end up spending 4 times as much energy on a job and getting half as good a results as you could get. One problem I run into shooting with doctors sometimes, they don't want to sit down and write. They want me to just come set up my camera, and they want to sit at their desk and they just want to talk. They just want to say what comes to mind. So I have no idea what they're going to do, no idea what I'm going to have to do with it afterwards, and I end up spending twice as much time. It costs them twice as much money in my work to get their project done, and then they're not very happy with it sometimes. Whereas if we sit down, we write a script, or start with an outline first of our ideas. What are we trying to achieve? What are we trying to tell, and who are we trying to tell it to? You can become much more focused on your project and say exactly what you want that way. Then when we shoot it, we only shoot what we need to. I spent all day yesterday shooting. In fact, it was the doc you saw with the pencil in his ear and his nose. He's actually very good on camera. He loves to be in front of the video camera, and he's very good at it. We spent all day yesterday shooting with him, but instead of just setting up and taping him, I had all the scripts written out, and in fact, I used a device called a teleprompter. And speaking of reading, you ever seen those things on the front of TV cameras? They got the big mirrors and such, and the little TV hanging on the front of the camera. You ever seen that in a TV studio? Anybody? What they're doing, you see the newscasters on here, and they're staring right at you. They can't see you. They're watching all their news go up on a screen from the bottom to the top. All this information that they're reciting to you is actually, they're just reading it off a TV screen that's reflected. The studio camera has a mirror in front of it that reflects another TV, a little TV screen hanging below it, and they're just reading word for word the news. That's what we did yesterday. So here's another important factor in reading. They come across looking like they know all this great news when in fact they're just reading it word for word off a screen. If we hadn't pre-planned what we were going to do yesterday, and I had to type all this out in the computer and have the computer printed out so that it could be shown on the teleprompter, I could still be there shooting that same job today and wasting a ton of time and a ton of money. So that's how important it is to just plan, and keep it written down. I hope I'm getting close.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a lot of other questions.
Yeah. Right here.
If they read off the teleprompter, why are they always turning over those papers and looking at
Because they didn't always have teleprompters. And so they still have a written sheet in front of them, because the teleprompter people screw up sometimes. So they'll be sitting there and they're reading a story on the screen in front of them, and suddenly the paper breaks. Often in the edit room, there'll be a little conveyor belt with this paper flowing across it, and a little camera shooting down at it, and that's what picks it up and sends it to the screen that they're looking at. That's what I was using yesterday. Well, sometimes that belt slips, and so they're in the middle of reading a story, and now suddenly the words have stopped on the screen. They're stuck. Well, they've got copies in front of them just in case something like that happens. The prompter goes down. They can still refer to their notes, but now suddenly, instead of just staring into the screen the whole time, now they're going to be doing this a lot, which doesn't look as good. So that's why. And also they have an outline in front of them, speaking of outlines, of just here's the stories we're going to cover in what order and how much time they have. Yeah?
How long have you been, taping?
Okay, I've been doing medical photography for, 11 years? No, 8 years, thank you. I have my notes in the back here. Yeah, I've been doing medical video since 1983, so that'd be 8 years. And before that, I was a photographer with the Chicago Tribune, the newspaper. I was a photojournalist then. But I felt that video was the future, that pretty soon you won't see cameras with film in them anymore. Everything will be electronic. In fact, they're already coming out with still photo cameras that use a computer chip a computer disc in them, little 2-inch by 2-inch disc. Yeah, they already have them. Sony makes them, Canon makes them, and so electronics are the future.
Like, what do they call those little machines that make captions on the side for the hearing impaired people?
Those are a form of teleprompters. That's a good question. What do you call the boxes for the hearing impaired? They're closed caption devices are what they're called.
And that is done by the National Telecaption Institute.
That's the words are electronically on the TV signal. We can't see it on a normal TV, but this box is able to pick it up. If you were to take your TV at home, some of you, an older TV in particular, if you turn the vertical hold button, so your picture is half on and half off, and you see a black bar going across. There's a lot of electronic information in there that we don't see and we don't need, but the TV stations use that a great deal, and it's got signals in it that tell the TV how to hold the picture perfect, both vertically and horizontally. There's a time-coded signal on there that's used in the editing process. So that's where that closed caption stuff is hidden too. Yeah. Yeah. Not anymore. The first time I did. The first time I shot surgery, I expected the nice classical music and the delicate scalpel work. And I was videotaping a knee replacement surgery where they cut off the ends of the bones, they cut out the knee joint and replace it with plastic and metal. Well, you can't do that with just a delicate scalpel work. That takes a power saw and hammers and chisels. And I walk in there and here's this guy just banging away and there's bits and pieces flying all over the place. And I think I made it about 15 minutes before suddenly I started looking at the ceiling and the ceiling was going this way, and I just I found a chair real quick. That was the worst I ever got. Yeah.
Do you have your own business, or do you work for other people?
I have my own business. I have a doctor as a partner.
How long have you been doing your own business? Ever since you've been doing it?
Oh, since last summer. I think we started last July. Before that, I worked for a company. I spent about a year doing what's called freelancing. I just went to whoever needed me for the day or for a week or whatever would hire me by the hour. That's a very popular profession in video too. Most companies don't have a big full staff. They just hire freelancers every day.
How do you get the camera in the body?
Okay, well, you don't use a camera like this. The camera is just a little tiny box, actually just the pickup. You know, cameras these days don't have tubes in them anymore. They now have these little chips that are light sensitive. Solid state, exactly, thank you. And so they have that little chip mounted in a box, and instead of the whole camera guts being right there, you see a cord coming off and all the electronics are back off to the side. So now you've just got this little tiny, like a 2-inch by 2-inch box with a fiber optic lens that's all about so long attached to it. And that's what goes into the body, just the tip of that lens. And in order to be able to see, it's also got fiber optics around it that light comes around. So you see the lens, and then there'll be a bundle of light around it. You see a ring of light coming around the tip. That's how they get the light inside there. But yet the light source is way back off to the side where the heat is, so you don't burn the person. And they have to fill the body with carbon dioxide to push the skin away. Otherwise, everything's all sucked together and you couldn't see anything. And that's how they do it. Yeah.
So that's why they were so bloated?
Yeah, that stomach you saw in there wasn't really that fat. That person was full of carbon dioxide. And once they get everything out, then they'll just open up one of the tubes that they put in and let the gas escape.
Well, how does it stay in there? Is it a tube in the mouth and the nose? How does it stay there? I mean, stay inside the body?
Oh no, it doesn't go through that. They make an opening and put a airtight tube into the skin and pump carbon dioxide in that way. They're not filling up your lungs and your stomach, they're filling up the cavity around those. So they push the skin away from those organs. If they filled up your lungs and that wouldn't do any good at all. Neat stuff, huh? Yep.
How many cameras do you
One video camera, because they're so expensive. I have 6 still cameras, Nikon cameras. Some of them are old and I don't use them anymore, but they're still working and I keep them as spares. Because when you work professionally, if I were to drop a camera and it broke, I can't tell a doctor in the middle of an operation, I just broke my camera, we'll have to stop. I always take at least 2 with me, so that if the jams in the film get stuck in there, I pick up the other one and start shooting. I carry 6 lenses also, from super wide angle to long telephoto. That's how I'm able to get in real tight like that without getting into that sterile area.
What's your photographing and operation run out of film?
Well,
Carry extra film?
that's where Mr. Keppel was mentioning about the planning stage. I carry a bag full of film with me. And I carry black and white, I carry color negative for making prints, I carry color slide film, because doctors use slides a lot for lecturing. A lot of time these guys don't plan. They schedule me to come in and shoot an operation, but they have no idea what they want until I get there. So I don't know, do they want black and white for a newsletter? Do they want color slides for a lecture? So see, that's where I have to plan ahead and make sure my bag is full. Yep. No. I make sure it's clean. Sometimes we'll wipe it down with alcohol if it's a big open procedure, like that gallbladder stuff in there. The only thing that was really sterile was just the person's stomach area. I didn't have to cover it with plastic or anything. Yep. Does it cost a lot of money to run a business and keep supplies? Yes, it does. I finally had to hire a woman to run the business side for me, because I'm a photographer. I'm not a business person. And you got the government taxes. You've got workman's compensation taxes, records you have to keep, payroll deductions. It takes a lot of money, and it's a lot of time-consuming effort as well. And before I went out of business, I figured I better get somebody in that knew what she was doing and save the day. Yep, sorry? No, not yet. I've done the knees, the stomach. One doctor I've shot a bunch with. Have you ever seen anybody that has to wear a plastic bag on their outside of their body? Either due to cancer or whatever, they now have to have this waist bag on them. Well, a doctor down in St. Pete has devised a method of making a living pouch inside the person. No more plastic bags hanging on the outside of them. They now just wear a Band-Aid on their skin, and when their pouch gets full, they insert a plastic tube to drain themselves, just like we go to the restroom. They feel it just like we feel full, and we need to go. Same thing. It's actually quite a remarkable thing, and this has revolutionized this type of life for people like this. 5 minutes what? Oh, okay. I figured. That was a big open procedure when I taped it. That they opened everything up from about here on down. I should know better than to hit that microphone. That's a messy one. Eye surgery I've shot. That's clean. Did some neck stuff. No brains yet. That one, I'm looking forward to that someday. I'd like to see that. Yeah. I'm sorry, about what? I don't know. Should I answer? Do I have to know a lot about math? Well, let me ask the teachers. Do I give an honest answer, or do I say, yes, math is great and you should study it real hard? Honest? No. I hate math.
Now you have to tell them why you can do math then, because they need to.
I took 4 years of advanced mathematics in school, and had I chosen, rather than to be a video photographer, if I'd been a video technician, a video engineer that repairs that stuff, you wouldn't be able to work without math then, because you've got to be able to calculate the circuitry and stuff. The only time I use math is when I'm editing, and my videotape has a time code on it that lets me keep track of how long segments are. Okay, so I have to be able to add up those time-coded segments to make sure if I want a 10-minute tape, I don't have 15 minutes worth of video in it. It's not going to fit. Luckily, they've built a calculator now that works in time code, so I just sit there and push buttons. I don't have to add it up anymore. Yeah. That's true. I have to be able to read the buttons and know which buttons to push.
Whenever you're editing,
Mm-hmm.
you want to cut a part out of the tape,
Mm-hmm.
like messed that you just take the tape and cut it?
No.
Back together?
No, that's the way it used to be 15 years ago. Now it's all electronic. Now it just, the machines read the tape and they just erase what you don't want, and you have to move everything up on that tape. I hate it when a doctor tells me, yeah, take that part out of the middle. Because they think, oh, you just take scissors and cut it like you just said. It doesn't do that anymore. So that means I have to re-edit everything from that point on and move it up. It's very time consuming.
My dad hates that.
Yeah. What's your dad do?
He builds houses and he makes videos for other people.
Yeah. Builds houses and makes videos for other people? Yeah, so somebody says, oh, I don't like that piece, and it's in the middle of the tape. That makes a lot of work. Yeah.
Have you ever shown an autopsy?
Nope. Nope. I'm looking forward to an autopsy where you take a dead person and you examine them, find out what's wrong.
When you were filming at the lasers and you had to work back around, did you have to put a lens on the camera?
No. No, because by recording it electronically, that neutralized the danger of the light. Okay, there's no chance that you guys watching that light that's going to hurt your eyes. No. It could have, if this had been an old camera that had tubes in it. The old tube cameras, I don't know if you've ever seen one that's been pointed at the sun or at lights at night, and you move the camera away and you still see those spots where the bright light has left an image on the tube. It eventually goes away. The new electronic cameras, Yeah, that's right. If you look at the lights too long and you still see it when you look away. The new chip cameras like this don't do that. You take them away from the lights and it's gone. Yeah.
The other ones, the ones with the tubes, they're kind of like, I heard they're kind of easier to fix because like you know which tube is messed up.
Yeah, well, I'm not a repair technician. I don't know. I know, yeah? He thinks they're easier to fix? Oh, that's interesting. No, I don't know. Can't answer that one. I went to did I go to college? I took a year of college, and I did that while I was already a photographer with the Chicago Tribune, and working full-time and going to school full-time doesn't mix. And since I wanted to be a photographer and I had my job, that was the end of school.
Do most people in your job have to have any college now?
Yeah, if I do wish I had finished college, I'll say that much. A lot of companies now, when they're looking for somebody, they look for that bachelor's degree.
What would you have needed a bachelor's degree in to be a photographer? Or what would have been a good area to go into?
Well, if I was going to stay as a photojournalist for a newspaper or a television station, they want to see a journalism degree, how to tell a story. Although, honestly, we hired new people that were right out of school, and they didn't know a thing. You know, they got hired for a degree, and the degree was useless. But still, you go to look for a job. I went on many a job interview, and they looked and saw I had no degree. End of interview. No, thank you. That's why I wish I'd finished it.
Let's all thank Mr. Simmons.
Nope, time up. Thank you. Thanks.